Alright, so I just unlocked the Recon class in Heroes and Generals. I'm playing as the US side, so that means I've unlocked the Model 1903 Springfield. Now, compared to the German counterpart, the Kar 98K, they both handle identically. I've picked up the Kar 98 off a few dead German snipers, and the only difference between the two weapons is the scope reticle. This is my first full game using this class, so I have not purchased any upgrades to the scope, the barrel, or ammunition. I'm using the Colt 1911 as a sidearm, as well as M2A3 anti-personnel mines, probably better known as the Bouncing Betty. I have found that the most effective way to utilize the Recon class is to get out on the enemy flanks and hassle their defensive positions. One of the first things that you'll notice when scoping in is that nearby objects appear blurry and out of focus, while the objects at optimum sniping range are clear and in focus. This effect actually helps balance the sniper class, giving some advantage back to regular rifles and submachine guns at close to medium ranges. Okay, so now let's move on how to aim. You'll notice that with the crosshair directly on the enemy's head, those first few shots missed high. I've noticed that even at the optimum range of the rifle, it still tends to shoot a little bit high. I have found that for most engagements, aiming at the base of the neck is a headshot almost every time. When you get on the enemy's flank like I've done here, you get lots of easy kills by picking them off behind their defensive positions. Also make the best use of the available terrain for cover. That bush there doesn't look like much, but it helps conceal my muzzle flash as well as breaks up my silhouette. Picking off those soldiers in defensive positions has allowed for our troops to push up on the objective. Now I'll continue to cover them from my sniper post here and get a couple more kills. Now if you annoy the enemy enough, they're eventually going to send some people after you. So you've always got to watch your flank, and that's something I neglected to do here. Got a little too comfortable, and I get embarrassed by a guy with a knife. Now this next tip can be applied to any class, but I think it's best demonstrated with the sniper, and that's using the bicycle. The bicycle is a quick and quiet way to get out of your spawn and to the flank of the enemy. Here I've used it to get to the opposite flank from which I was sniping before. I'm also protecting the flank of our own troops. As you can see, a few enemy soldiers try and make their way around here. Also, when sniping alone on the flank like this, you're going to want to limit your fire to targets you're sure you can eliminate. Spraying a ton of bullets at one guy you can't take down is going to compromise your position. Another thing to note is that once your character has caught their breath, you're just as accurate standing as you are kneeling or prone. Also, that muzzle spray tends to dissipate rather quickly after running, so take your time before lining up that first shot. Now here we've pushed the enemy back to the final point. I'm just adjusting my firing position to have a better line of sight on their defensive position. Now here I'm crouching and strafing slowly to try and minimize the attention that I draw as I move through this relatively uncovered ground. Not sure what happened there. I think that guy just glitched out of the game. He's actually dead. You can see, especially here with this position, being on the flank gives you a great advantage over the enemy. All these soldiers thought that they had sufficient cover behind this brick wall, but little did they know they were completely exposed to my sniper fire. Now I had made mention of the 1911 as my sidearm, and I can't stress enough that you really need to unlock it as soon as you can. You can hip fire with the sniper rifle, but the rate of fire is extremely slow. So you're better off just switching immediately to your pistol for close quarters engagements. You can see here, it's actually pretty powerful at taking down enemies at close range. Now for extreme close range, you can hip fire the pistol, but sighting in for the short medium engagements is the best choice. You can see here that when I utilize my cover and my pistol, I'm able to outduel this enemy who has a superior weapon. Now in this situation, with the round almost over, and me low in health, I decided to go for the home run headshot. Typically what I would have done in that situation is place a Betty mine immediately behind my cover and then retreat back to a new position. If the enemy decides to pursue, there's a good chance that he's going to trip off that Betty mine. As a sniper, try to avoid the obvious places, such as a lone building in the middle of a field like this one, because that's the first place anybody is going to look. If you're going to be in a building, try and be in a building that is surrounded by multiple structures. One thing that I failed to mention earlier is that there is bullet drop in this game, although for most engagements, it's not going to be a factor with the sniper rifle. and for those rare, extreme long distance shots, you'll be able to follow the trace of your bullet to adjust your fire accordingly. One thing to note is that there's a weird glitch in the game where sometimes walls and trees and other cover will bleed when hit by rounds. Keep that in mind because there's been a few times where I thought I was hitting an enemy multiple times and just not getting a kill, when in fact I was shooting cover. So that about sums up my tips and tactics on how to be the most effective recon player. Remember, outflank the enemy, use your cover to your advantage, watch your own back, also know where to aim, just at the base of the neck, get your headshots, and remember to take your time placing shots. Don't just throw bullets at the enemy. You can continue to watch as I clean up these last few Germans. I end up getting one with my last bullet and then viciously teabagging another just before the game ends. I'm going to continue to do these kind of tips and tactics tutorials as I unlock more characters. The character I'm trying to get next is the fighter pilot, so I'm going to be bringing hopefully some aerial combat as well as some air to ground strafing runs. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like and a comment below. If you want some more content, also click the subscribe button.